Hello everybody, I just want to make an in-depth companion druid guide. So this is going to be for if you want to play with your companions doing all of your damage, which, believe it or not, is actually not that bad this season. I think this is probably the strongest companion druid's ever been. I'm able to clear tier 90s pretty easily. It's not going to be like if you're playing like a Hoda Barb or something like that. This isn't like an S tier build by any means, but at the same time, it's nowhere near as bad as what like the Diablo 4 community makes it out to be when they talk about companion druids. So let's go ahead and hop on into our abilities so I can explain a little bit more about how this works. So the first thing you need to understand about companions is that most of their damage is actually in their active as opposed to the passive. Now their passive damage is up quite a lot comparatively to previous seasons, and the reason for this is because you have this Seneschal companion that can do Flash of Adrenaline, as well as they also did a 40% buff this season to the Wilds glyph. So this used to be 80% on this additional bonus. Now it's 120%. On top of that, last season, I want to say it was last season, they actually buffed Ravens, and they made it to where this also increases Ravens passive damage by 40%. So like you'll see that like the Ravens passive damage gets up to like I think 275,000 damage or something like that whenever the Ravens come down and hit. So the passive damage is up, but still the main damage is going to be in the active. Like you'll see, I can just one-shot everything on the screen with Poison Creeper. But anyways, yeah, so that's the main thing. So, and because of that, we're going to be running Pack Leader in the boons, so critical strikes have up to a 20% chance to reset the companion skills. Now, when it comes to what you're going to be doing outside of casting the actives, is you're just going to be spamming Claw. So this has a 60% lucky hit chance. There isn't really any other ability that has anywhere near as high of a lucky hit chance coefficient. So, and not only that, you have a chance to attack twice with Claw, and this is going to net you like the highest amount of resets possible. You'll see that like you get quite a lot of resets with this, and if you run like a Crone Staff or something like that, it gets even better. But for the purposes of this build, we're just sticking with pure companion druid. We're not like splashing the Crone Staff or anything like that yet. But yeah, so this is going to give you the highest possible resets, and you'll notice that you're actually going to reset your companions quite a lot, which is really going to help with the smoothness of the build, because you really rely on the resets to be able to just reset active, etc., etc. So moving right along, we're going Predatory Instinct. We're going whatever the heck that word is, Gate. So just for some movement speed, we have Earthen Bulwark with Enhanced Earthen Bulwark, Preserving Earthen Bulwark. Then we have Ancestral Fortitude and Vigilance. Now keep in mind, you're going to find that like you're going to have a lot of points, right? So like left over even after you get everything you need for the companion druid. So keep that in mind, that you can actually kind of customize this to really whatever you want or whatever you need at whatever stage of the game you're at. Like if you need more defenses or something like that, you're getting CC'd, you can just run something like Defensive Posture, Nature's Resolve, Unrestrained or something like that, right? So after that, come down here, we max out all the companion skills. I go Brutal Wolfpack. If you're having trouble staying fortified, you can go Ferocious Wolfpack, because with the way I have it currently set up, I'm running Symbiotic Aspect with Nature's Fury, and the reason for this is specifically because I have Tybalt's Will on. If you don't have Tybalt's Will on, you don't need to do this. So like what you can do if you don't have Tybalt's Will is you can actually go Ursine's Strength, and then you can swap this over to Ferocious Wolfpack. So since you won't be getting as many Earthen Bulwark resets, you'll still be able to actually keep your Fortify up. So that's something to think about. And not only that, you'll also get like another damage multiplier. But the reason why we switch over is because the only way for us to get good access to Unstoppable is if we run Nature's Fury, and technically Tybalt's is a 40% increase, whereas Ursine's Strength would only give us a 25% increase. So it's a net like 15% damage. So it's like a net 15% damage when we do this. So it's just going to be better to run Nature's Fury once you get Tybalt's. It's just higher damage. Yeah, so then we go Call of the Wild. Then here, when it comes to Poison Creeper with the pure companion build, you pretty much never want to take Brutal Poison Creeper. Like, I know it seems like it might be good because of the Pack Leader, but you get 50% increased damage. So you see this 104,000 to 108,000, right? So like this literally doubles the damage of your Poison Creeper, so you just really can't afford to like lose that. Then we go Ravens, Enhanced Ravens, Brutal Ravens. Now This is pretty good because it increases the passive damage of your ravens. It also gives you 2 more ravens to come down and attack and keep pecking people. And we have other ways to make things vulnerable, especially with like the Seneschal companion and stuff like that right now. And then you also have like exploit in the glyphs, so it's not that big of a deal. So now, since we are running aspect of the alpha, the wolves can apply rabies, so I do actually increase this just to get a little bit more damage out of the rabies. However, you don't have to do this. You could just run 3 points in order to get rabies spreading 50% faster, because I found that the rabies that the wolves put on benefit from like anything that like the normal rabies would benefit from, so this does seem to be buffing the damage of it. But yeah, so you could do it if you just want to spread faster. This helps with things like heightened malice uptime and stuff like that. But yeah, so moving right along, we have neurotoxin, toxic claws, envenom. So this is going to give you a 30% multiplicative damage increase against poison enemies. And then we go petrify, prime petrify. So this just gives you a really big critical strike damage buff. One other thing you can do is, I mean, you could go like lacerate or something if you were trying to like tech something in to like avoid the wave mechanic for like Uber Lilith or something like that. Like that wouldn't be too bad, because like if you look here, right, like the cooldown on this is 23 seconds. So this is an interesting tech if you're doing something that you need to like avoid specific mechanics for. But other than that, I found Petrify is going to be the best. And if you don't even need like the extra damage, you can actually just get rid of Petrify, and you could run something like Bloodhowl, and that'll give you like another attack speed steroid and a little bit more survivability, as well as if you like combine that with something like Bolster, you'll be able to just stay fortified a lot. So decent amount of stuff you can do. If you don't like the rabies, just things, if you want to alter from what I have here, you can take points out of rabies and you can put it in something like this, like defensive posture, nature's resolve, so just more ways to get fortified, and then so reduce the duration of control impairing effects as well. So that's also pretty good. I actually do like unrestrained, depending on like what kind of dungeons and like whatever kind of stuff you're doing, because being able to reduce control impairing effects is really nice. But since I'm running you know, the whole Earthen Bulwark Nature's Fury setup, I have really good access to Unstoppable, so it's not really that big of a deal. But if you're running like Ursine Strength, I think it becomes a lot more valuable to run something like Unrestrained, right? Okay, so that's going to be it for the skills. When it comes to I'll go ahead and go over the spirit boons here. So when it comes to spirit boons, you can go Wariness, Swooping Attacks, Avian Wrath, Pack Leader, and then Masochistic. So Avian Wrath is like super good because you can gain 30% critical strike damage. Attack speed is just really good for Claw. The more claws you get off, the more you get the chance of attacking twice. So it just helps with Pack Leader resets. But you can also go Scythe Talons. That's also not that bad either, I don't think. But yeah, but Avian Wrath, since it's multiplicative now, I think that's like, you pretty much just kind of have to take that. Alright, so yeah, so Pack Leader, and then Masochistic, because you literally can't proc anything else here, right? Because you have to do lightning damage to proc Overload. This goes off Earth skills, and this goes off Nature Magic skills, so Masochistic is like the only thing, since you spam Claw, that you can really use here. Okay. On to gear selection. So, alright, so going on to items. So for the helmet, you're going to want triple companion skills plus max life. I think is going to be pretty good. Or you could go like basic skill attack speed. I don't think it's too bad either. You don't really need cooldown reduction because you're a reset build, and you also don't really need percent total armor, because on this next piece here we run Juggernaut's aspect, and going percent total armor on one piece of gear is plenty to give you the armor that you need to be able to survive in those higher up dungeons. On the helmet, you can go something like Aspect of Might is pretty good. The one that just gives you the damage reduction whenever you use a basic skill. So here, Juggernaut's Aspect, Armor, Close, damage reduction from Poison, and then damage reduction from Fortified is going to be the best stats. Next up on the gloves, we're going to have Aspect of Nature Savagery. The reason why we have this is because it allows our Claw to reset our Earthen Bulwark with Nature's Fury. That's really the only function. It just kind of acts as a bridge. And no, this does not make it to where, like, you know, if you have like Werebear abilities and all of a sudden your Claw is going to reset your Werebear abilities. It does not work like that. It just works as a gap between your werewolf skills being able to reset your earth skills, and then your werebear skills being able to reset your storm skills. Right. Okay, so for stats on this, you're going to want critical strike, chance, attack speed, lucky hit chance, and then willpower, intelligence, dexterity, something like short Paragon isn't too bad. Willpower is probably going to be the best. So next up for the pants. Now, if you do not have a pair of Tybalts, you could go Storm's Companion. Storm's Companion, though, is not really all that great because it doesn't actually turn your wolves into a storm skill, so you don't get any of like the benefits, I guess, of them being a storm skill. So like in the past, it actually did tag them as that, but I guess that was a bug and it was fixed. And I kind of suspected that because I know back in like season 1 or 2, I was making some videos of me just testing things, like for example having Storm's Companion on and then using constricting tendrils and seeing if they would actually proc the constricting tendrils, and the answer is they did not. So like I just noticed that very consistently they were not proccing any of the storm stuff, so I kind of assumed that was just a bug, and yes, at some point it was fixed, so now it shows that they are not tagged as a storm skill or a nature magic skill anymore, which sucks because that's kind of like, in my mind, the whole thing that Storm's Companion should do. But so it makes Tybalt's just the absolute best pant slot that you can get. Storm's Companion is going to be like the second place just because it does give ranks to wolves and it does give them a nice little teleport effect. So yes, it does help in that sense, but other than that, it's just not really too great. Okay, so and then when it comes to the aspect, so I would say that if you wanted to and you had a very low armor value and you were trying to like push the limit, you could do something like Disobedience, wouldn't be too bad. Another thing you could do is the one that makes your Earthen Bulwark last longer. That one's also not too bad either. I think it's Mending Stone. But those are going to be really your only two options. There's not a whole lot. There's really not a whole lot to be done in that third slot. One thing you could do as well if you didn't have Tybalts is you could move one of your utility things, like Symbiotic Aspect, or like just you could move your utility aspects around. So you could have like Craven Aspect or something like that on your boots, or some type of movement speed increaser on your boots. So that could be pretty good too. But yeah, again, it all just depends on what your what gear setup is. So just do what makes sense, obviously for wherever you're at. But yeah, so moving right along, and then stat wise, you want to go damage reduction from close, distant, and then like poisoned and fortified. Okay, onto the boots. So for the boots, I use Symbiotic Aspect. We're using this in combination with the Nature's Fury. Now, if you do not have Tybalt, so you don't need to like have real super good access to Unstoppable yet or something like that, you can just run a movement speed increaser. Like that's really what I would do. Just anything that increases movement speed, probably like Ghost Walkers, or even like Craven Aspect for that matter. Because whenever you Poison Creeper something, it slows them. So Craven Aspect gives you this nice little, you Poison Creeper stuff, just walk away and it kind of dies. So in terms of like speed farming, the whole Craven Aspect is going to be pretty darn good because you're going to be one-shotting things with Poison Creeper anyway. So just Poison Creeper, keep walking away from slowed enemies, keep like a 40% move speed buff, and it'll actually make you kind of zip around. Alright, then for the stats, I like to go movement speed, then movement speed after killing an elite, and then lightning resistance and shadow resistance. So when it comes to resistances, that's really more so based on like whatever you got on your rings. Right, so like here I have like a fire resist ring and then I have a shadow resistance ring. So depending on what you get, you're going to have to just kind of juggle around. But yeah, you just want 2 resistances that you actually need, so you can make sure that you're hitting the cap on resistances, right? Alright, so moving right along to the weapons. So on the weapons, I have Rapid Aspect on a one-handed axe. So I'm going to go all stats, willpower, damage to close, and then like critical strike damage. Going to be your best. There's going to be like your best stats for that. This just gives us attack speed, so we can cast Claw faster, which gives us more resets. Then we have Aspect of the Alpha on our necklace. This is going to give our wolves a 165% increase to damage, as well as it's going to turn them into a werewolf companion. Now, you could, if you're at lower levels of play and you're not at like tier 90s or anything like that, I would recommend you could take this and put it on a two-hander, and it'll make your wolves just kind of one-shot everything, and then you could put like rapid aspect on your amulet or something like that, and it would give your wolves. But because once you get to tier 90s, your wolves die more often, and you need, you know, each wolf to be out in order to get like the maximum amount of damage out of them possible. I think that, like, you know, since you're gonna notice that quite often one of your wolves might be dead, one or two of your wolves might be dead, so you only have one wolf, so it's like, what's the point of just buffing the damage of one wolf? You know what I mean? It's like, it's just not, I don't think it's worth the two-handed investment. I think it's better to run the one-hander and offhand, just because then you can actually buff the damage of everything a little bit further, so you just get a little bit more value out of that. But if you are at lower levels, I do think this is like insanely good before you get to the point where the wolves die super frequently or anything like that. So in terms of stats on it, I like to go ranks of companion skills, ranks of Call of the Wild. You actually cannot get Call of the Wild and Envenom on the same thing. So don't sit there and try to roll. You can get ranks of companion skills in Envenom, or you can get ranks of companion skills in Call of the Wild, but Call of the Wild is just going to be better. It's going to give you more damage. It's just a 30% extra damage buff to your wolves. After that, you can go something like damage reduction from poisoned and then movement speed, or you can go, if you're just trying to like push higher up dungeons and you just want damage, you can just look for the percent willpower and then like damage reduction from poisoned and then companion skills and then Call of the Wild passive. It's probably going to be your best bet if you're like just trying to like do really like more difficult content or something like that. But even then, you don't really need all that damage to be able to do the tier 90s. After that, we're going to use Aspect of the Stampede, so gain one additional companion. In addition, your companions are going to deal 26% bonus damage. This gives us one extra companion, which is just a pretty big damage increase overall. On your rings, you're going to want to have critical strike chance, critical strike damage, lucky hit chance, and max life. Moving right along, so I am using X-Falls. You're going to find that this thing is going to hit like a truck. So your Poison Creeper on top of the Rabies, on top of your Toxic Claws, you have like 3 different dots that can proc X-Falls, and when it does proc, because we have all these various damage multipliers on, it, like, I think this thing hits for like 1.82 million whenever it procs, so it just chunks things or just one-shots it, depending on like what level of stuff you're doing. So it's super, super good. However, if you don't have it, it is not a big deal at all. There are other options of things you can run. So if I was not running the X-Falls, I would be running something like, let's see, where was it at? Yeah, so if I'm not running, Edge Masters is what I was thinking of, yeah. So if I'm not running that, I'm going to be running Edge Masters. So Edge Masters gives you 20% increased damage to everything. So it's technically Edge Masters would give you like the most damage to your companion skills, but Poison Creeper and all the poison effects from like from Aspect of the Alpha and stuff like that does a pretty good job of proccing X-Falls. And I want to point something out here too about Rabies. And Rabies has a 60% lucky hit chance coefficient on it. So this is like probably the best. This is like probably the best thing ever in terms of proccing X-Falls. Like, you're gonna proc X-Falls on your Rabies like quite a lot, because it says up to 50%. So that means you would actually have like a 23. Oh, would that be? No, I'm talking about it's like 20, like 30%, I guess is what that'd be. Like 30% chance to proc X-Falls when you compare that to like all of the other abilities. So when it comes to lucky hit chances, right? So like if you were to apply the dot here with Shred from like Raging Shred, you'd only have a 24%. So that means you'd have like a 10% chance to proc X-Falls. So I'm not 100% certain how Toxic Claws. It seems to me that it goes off of the lucky hit chance of whatever ability it was you were using. So that's pretty nice, because since we use Claw, that means it gives it a pretty nice lucky hit coefficient. But yeah, So that's going to be it for the rings, and then same thing for both rings. Critical strike chance, lucky hit chance, max life, critical strike damage is just going to be the best. And critical strike damage is kind of a pretty decent default because of Avian Wrath, so gain 30% increase critical strike damage, as well as Envenom, right? So I think Envenom is another 30% bonus critical strike damage. So critical strike damage is going to be the best default thing, just for your companions and you just in general for that reason, because there isn't anything in specific that's going to buff the companions all that much aside from critical strike damage. So yeah. And then on our offhand, we are going to go conceited aspect. So critical strike chance, damage reduction from poison enemies, damage reduction while fortified, and cooldown reduction. This is going to make us deal 25% increased damage while we have a barrier, so it's just another damage buff that applies to everything. Another option is that if you don't like the attack speed, or you don't feel like you need the attack speed, which I personally like it, you could technically get rid of one of these. You could get rid of like Rapid, for example, and then run on a two-hander, and you could do something like put Aspect of the Stampede on your two-hander or something like that, and that would give you like another 25% damage. And also keep in mind that when it comes to like a final note here is that if you do not have Tybalts and you're not running the Nature Savagery setup, you will have another offensive aspect. So you could run Edge Masters here. You could also run a two-hander and then put like Rapid Aspect there. You know, just stuff like that. There's a lot of customization and ways to do it. Just do whatever's common sense for the build. Okay, so now moving on to the Paragon. Alright, so when it comes to what the optimal Seneschal companion setup is going to be, so first thing is you want is Flash of Adrenaline, Genesis, Duration Support, Tactical Support. This just gives you a permanent 50% damage increase to everything. It's just really, really good. And you want Tempest with Evernight, Safeguard support, and Breaking support. Evernight's going to give you a +4 to all your skills. So you can see here I have like a 12, so that means I'm going to have a 16 to every single one of my companion skills, which is super duper solid, right? This is going to give you some damage reduction. This is going to give you pretty decent access to Vulnerable, which is the main reason why I take it. You can also go Exploit, if you want to have a little bit better access to Vulnerable, but I find Breaking support's just fine. If you do not have Genesis or Evernight, totally fine. So on Tempest, you're just going to want to run this efficiency support. It's going to give you 15% crit. And then with Flash of Adrenaline, this one's really awkward because like I don't feel like there's a whole lot of good ones. But you could do like Mockery support where it like just does an AoE taunt onto your pet. I guess that one could be good, but I don't know. It's just not all that great. Other thing too is another option is Fortify support on Tempest can be alright. It gives you a bunch of Fortify, but I found that you don't really have an issue staying fortified, so it's not really that necessary. But yeah, that's going to pretty much be, but this is going to be like the optimal, like if you're just going for damage from your companions, this is going to be the most optimal build. Now I will say that if you're doing single target bossing, if you go like, I think it's something like this, you can go like Firefly with Piercing and Multi-Shot, and then Seeking, and then Seeking support. This does a ton of damage to bosses, so if you are trying to do like a little bit of bossing, this right here just does an absolute ton of damage with bossing. Another thing too is I believe that this poison support like scales infinitely. At least that's what it seems like when I was testing it on dummies. So you get their poison support on here with Tempest. So for example, if you wanted to do something like this, because like let's say you don't have Evernight yet and you just want to have a little bit of damage out of your companion, you could do something like this. Let's go Safeguard, and then let's see, I want to say actually Breaking might still be, yeah, so you could go something like this, or you could go something like this if you don't efficiency support. you know, if you were running like exploit or something like that, so you go something like this, and this would actually be a decent amount of damage. You gotta remember that this also resonates, and it deals 20% more bonus damage every time it's reapplied. So with this thing attacking a bunch, you can just start putting another poison on everything. So yeah, that scale, it seems to scale like almost infinitely. Now, I don't have a way to confirm whether or not it works with X-Falls, because I just had too much stuff. I had too much stuff going on to really tell, but it seems like it might actually proc X-Falls as well, but I can't really confirm that. But if it does, it also makes it just another, you know, another way to proc X-Falls. But if it doesn't, it's not even really that big of a deal. Okay, but yeah, that's going to be it for the companion and I guess the various setups that I think are personally going to be the best. Alright. Alrighty, so for the Paragon, when it comes to glyphs, the first glyph is going to be Wild. Inner Beast has an absolute ton of intelligence, and it also gives you a nice kind of way to branch into two different directions, as it has a nice midpoint. On top of, you can get attack speed from this right here, and you can also get max life and some extra armor and stuff like that. So pretty good. I think this is going to be probably the best first board to go to, because Wilds is going to be like the #1 thing you need just right off the bat. Like right when you hit 50, you need Wilds, and you need to just be trying to pump this thing and get this up as high as possible, because this is going to be the fastest way that you're just going to start dealing a ton more damage, because of this 120% increased passive damage on top of just the 267% companion skill damage increase that it gives just in general. I wish they would change it to make this like a multiplicative damage increase for both, but whatever. But yeah, so then here on the first one, so I'm actually running Poise specifically just to get the barrier, and this is going to be probably the only place that you can run one of these ones where it like buffs a bonus to rare nodes. And the reason specifically for that is that there is not really a whole lot of like Paragon boards that buff companion damage, right? So like you come here and you have like damage to poisoned enemies, right? And then you have damage reduction from poisoned enemies. So you could potentially use it here, but the thing is here is that this is also the highest dexterity one. So you want to try to max out Spirit here, so you can get a bunch of critical strike damage to combo with AV and Wrath to get like again damage that you can actually get applied to your companions. So you can't really run it there. And then once you look over here, you know, it's like, oh, well, you can get resist all, but then you come down here and it's like damage wall or core skill damage. So it's like you don't run a core skill, so this doesn't even matter. So like you won't get like the double value right here, nature magic skill. Nope, you're not running any nature magic skills, because for some reason Poison Creeper is not a nature magic skill. Ravens is not a nature magic skill, and Wolves is not a nature magic skill. How exactly are it doesn't even make sense to me. I guess wolves are not found in nature, so this is not nature magic. I guess apparently not. Summoning these from the wild is not considered nature magic. Like I can understand if you don't consider wolves a storm skill, but like a nature magic skill, like come on. Anyway, I digress, right? And then you come down here, right, and then you have like werewolf skill damage. It's like, well, how's that gonna help us, right? Because claw. Because we're doing all of these specific ones because they just give us like the most of whatever stat we need. And then when it comes to the actual like glyphs and glyph selection, there isn't like, so when it comes to something like werewolf, right, you look at like this werewolf one, you deal increased damage while in werewolf form. Well, whenever you cast a companion skill, it turns you back into human form. So that one's pretty much already out, right? You go to something like shapeshifter, this just isn't really that good. You know, protector, not really that good. It's outmatch, again, not really that good. It's like it's just not really all that great. I mean, I guess you could do human, but again, because we spend so much time in claw, I don't even think that's going to be that beneficial, right? Fang and claw could potentially be good, but again, it's wall and werewolf form, so close enemies, so it's like, you're not going to be able to proc that very consistently. Exploit's pretty good. So the reason why we run Poise is just to help keep our conceited aspect up. However, I've been finding, and I do this just because I I like having up conceded as much as possible, but one thing you can do is you could run something like exploit here instead, which I think is perfectly fine if you want more access to vulnerable. This is kind of a flex slot that's you can go kind of based on your preference, but I either like to go poise here or exploit typically. Anyways, moving right along. So we're using spirits, wilds, and then what's the next one here? So undaunted, right? So the main thing when you're choosing your glyphs is you have to think about what is going to affect all of your damage and what's going to affect your companion skill damage and stuff like that. And things like undaunted will, tracker is going to do that, increase damage to poison targets, and then guzzler is going to do that. Now, one thing that you can do as well, and I left this, and this is one that's really good. It's really good, but for the specific purposes of like if you're trying to maximize the damage of all your companions and not just one, and that's Bane. What the heck is it? Right here. So poisoning damage effects have a 10% chance to deal double the amount of damage over their duration. So this is really good for specifically Poison Creeper. This is also really good for your rabies, and it's also really good for your toxic claws. So it's good for like the dot aspect of the build, but your ravens don't benefit from it and your wolves don't benefit from it, right? So whereas if you were to run something like Guzzler, where you just deal 7% increased damage while healthy, well, then you're going to get extra damage with wolves and extra damage with ravens, right? So like when you think about, when you have that kind of idea in mind, it kind of makes all the other glyphs not really that good. And on top of that, let's see here, and then obviously we're not using earth or lightning skills, so none of those are actually going to be beneficial. If you are running Storm's Companion though, there is a note I can say about this, is if you're running Storm's Companion, there is, and you're trying to like max out wolf damage, if you ran like Storm's Companion with electrocution and then fulminate, right, because you do increase lightning damage, it does make your wolves deal lightning damage. I will say that. So like you technically could then tech in, I'm not saying this would be good, but it'd be kind of fun if you're just trying to mess around with wolves, right? You could like tech in something like dealing lightning damage has a chance to immobilize them and deal more lightning damage. Every 14 seconds a lightning bolt hits, stuff like that. So that's also another thing to think about, right? Up to a 10% chance when dealing damage to a vulnerable, immobilized, or stunned enemy. The lightning bolt also hits, dealing 8,200 damage. So that one can be good, I guess. But the thing is you don't get any value out of the other things. It's very 5 willpower, purchased in range. Your lightning bolts and dancing bolts deal 38.3% damage, and it's just like, I don't know. It is a 20% multiplicative damage increase, but you're only getting half value out of it. So, like mathematically, I'd have to go double check it. Like technically, if you were to run like the dancing bolts thing, so you could actually get a lightning bolt to hit. But then the other thing too is you got to remember, you need like a lightning bolt or a dancing bolts thing to hit everything in order for that to happen. So this could be an interesting tech specifically for bosses, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So for something like Uber Lilith, you could run this with something like this, and then that could actually potentially give you another 20% damage amp if you're really trying to like min-max your single target damage, because 20% damage is going to outdo pretty much any of the other glyphs, really. So, but yeah. Okay, but yeah, I think that's really about all I have to say when it comes to the Paragon. And one thing I guess that I haven't figured out like a solid way to do it, but I think if you were to find like a Ring of Starless Skies, I'm thinking about dropping like Petrify, and then specifically you can put in like a really high spending like thing like Pulverize, so Spirit costs 35, or even Tornado maybe. Tornado Spirit cost 40, right? And the reason for it would be you just cast it like 2 or 3 times, probably Pulverize actually, right? So because you could cast Pulverize, you could get like 2 or 3 casts off pretty fast, so you can keep your Ring of Starless Skies up, and then on top of that you can also keep Ancestral Guidance up, and both of those would actually buff the damage of your companion skills by like, let's see, so 30% plus another like 40%. So like that would actually be another 70% damage increase to the companion skills. But I really feel like I feel like that kind of relies on the Ring of Starless Skies to be, I guess, to be like a valid strategy. So yeah, but it is something I've been thinking about. And once I find the Ring of Starless Skies, I am going to test that out. But that is something that is something to be said here. And then yeah, I think Heightened Malice is going to be the only like actual legendary node that you're going to get a benefit from. But on single target, this isn't really particularly useful if they don't have ads. So okay, well yeah, that's going to do it for the Paragon. So yeah, that's really all I had to say about like the whole gear, skills, everything. So let's go ahead and hop on into a Nightmare Dungeon, and I will just show you how the build plays. Alright, we're going to give a Dead Man's Dredge 100 a shot. So you can see here, getting resets. My gosh. Now, you don't really have to go this high. I prefer to go like 90s if I'm gonna do it. Oh my gosh, so much poison. Oof. You can see I've gotten like a decent amount of resets and whatnot. Alright, cool. A lot of poison. These things have poison? No, I do 50% more poison damage. Oh yeah, and it have monster physical resist. That's actually not that great. Because that means my wolves and ravens are doing doing about 30% less damage. Let's put it that way. So that kind of sucks, but. So that sucks, but you know what? We'll see if we can make it through, because I do get 15% increased poison damage. I didn't really fish a whole lot for a good key. I kind of just went with whatever I had. Dun -dun. Alright. Alright. Let's see how we do here. Oof. Slain by Scorching Revenant. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. That guy needs to stop exploding. So I can actually walk up, that'd be great. Oh, wait, he's not exploding. What am I talking about? I thought that guy was dead or something. Oh, okay. That's cool. Okay, now he's gonna explode. Now he's gonna explode. Simple. Alright. Yep. Alright, let's keep on keeping on. Oh my gosh. Somebody's car is going off outside, and that is driving me insane. Oh, thank you. Jeez. Okay. Yeah. Get out of here. Oh man, nice. Oh no. Oh god. Oh no. Yeah, that's. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Hold on a second here. I knew something was off. Huh? Ignore me, I'm just running the wrong... I'm just running the wrong jigamahoos. It's fine, it's fine. I was trying to do... Let's see here. This... No. That's the wrong one. This. This. That... Oh, that explains a lot, actually. It's like, what the heck? Why the heck did I die in here? Oh, it's because I totally forgot to switch my Seneschal construct stuff around. Where is it at? There. This one. Breaking. That gives me access to vulnerable. Oh, hey, look at that. Oh, hey. Oh, hey. Oh, hey now. Oh, look at that. Man, just dealing so much more damage now. I knew something felt off. It's like my survivability seemed a little off, and then so did my damage. Yeah, damage seems to be up a decent amount here. Yeah, and as you can see, so like the wolves will die, but like they come back, so it's aight. It's aight, you know. It'll work. It'll work. It's aight. Oh. Aw, jeez. What did I just get? I just got... Okay. Yep. Yes. Die, all of you. Die, die, die. Oh my gosh. Can I am using quite a lot of... I feel like I'm using quite a lot of potions, but that's okay, I guess. Alright. Moving right along. Taking care of business. Alright, ooh. This doesn't look like a good... This looks pretty scurry. This looks pretty scurry. What's gonna happen? So you gonna summon any elites? Maybe? Oh. No? Guess not. No elites? Well, that's boring. Well, that's boring. Come on. Taking care of business. 1.5 million. Oh my god. What's this doing? 295,000. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let's get this. Oh my god, 428,000 just on the passive. Jesus. Oh my gosh. Nice. So much damage. Oh wait, I need to actually... Yeah. Yep. Let's see here. I really wish ravens could proc. Let's go ahead and just get this. Start getting the deeps on them. Oh, this is not a good spot to be at. Not a good spot. Oh my gosh, I cannot move. That is not a good spot to be at. It's okay, we'll try that again. We will try that again. I think I might need to go get my old graphics card a little check as well. I think I just need to keep kiting these things down as well. Let me go back up. Oh. There we go. There we go. Jeez. Alright, yeah, I just need to kite those guys around a little bit there. Alright, let's see here. Huh. Wolf just jumps in and just immediately runs away. Yeah, I think the wolves are the probably the least useful part in the High Nightmare dungeons. Honestly, like, you'd probably get more value out of just really trying to min-max the Poison Creeper and the Ravens. Okay. KKK. Okay. I gotta get rid of this poison one. What the heck is stunning me? Oh. Oh, geez. Okay. Wow. My gosh. I was not even noticing that the dude had, the ice. Dude had the ice. It's like, what the heck is stunning me? Oh. Oh, okay. Oh no, my next overpower attack's gonna do less damage. What will I ever do? What will I ever do? What do I need here? What do we got here? Protection? Oh, hey, look at that. That's pretty useful. That's pretty useful. I'll try to utilize that so we can get the rest of this. Okay. Pick up that potion, why not? Okay. Okay. And alright, should have to kill the alpha. And that should be it. Okay. And there it be. Alrighty. Yeah, but yeah, and the reason why I did tier 100 is to show you that, like, yeah, you actually can do a tier 100 with this. Now, obviously, is this an S tier build? No, I'm not saying that this is like the most giga broken OP thing. But if you enjoy the companion skills, this is probably going to be the best way to play a Zoo Druid version. Gonna have another guide coming out here in, I don't know, like a week or so. That's going to go over the Crone Staff version, which I personally think is the funnest version of it because it gives you a nice active, like, Stormclaw play style in addition to having like the resets of the companions and stuff like that. This is specifically for if you wanted a build where all of your damage is coming from companions. How far can it go? And it can take you all the way to 100. Not too bad, not too bad, because I still have a decent amount of like stuff left on the table here, right? Like I haven't rerolled my rings to critical strike chance. This is still off. I don't have a perfect weapon by any means. Just stuff, just like a bunch of little things. I don't even think I have all my glyphs leveled up exactly to what I would need it to be, right? So it's like I have, see, a 13 glyph here, 15 glyph here. Poise is only at 1. And I could actually swap poise out for like territorial or something and get even more damage, right? So yeah, tracker's still only 15. So definitely a decent, well, I have a little bit more damage there left on the table. Top of, you know, amulet isn't even, I don't have like the whole 4-stat amulet going for me either. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time.